I couldn't shake Sally's text. We need to talk. I know you're hiding something, Maria. The words clung to me like smoke, seeping into every thought, every breath. For days, I replayed them in my head. Did she know about the apartments? Or was this just another one of her games? Poking, prodding, testing for weakness? I didn't answer. Instead, I deleted the message. But that didn't erase the fear curling in my stomach. Because if Sally suspected something, she wouldn't stop until she uncovered it. That's who she was. Jeff, of course, noticed something was off. You've been quiet, he said one evening while we ate dinner in silence. I'm just tired, I lied, stabbing at my salad without tasting it. He gave me a long look, like he wanted to press further. But instead, he sighed and let it go. Jeff never wanted to push. Not with me, not with his mother. He floated in the middle, trying to keep peace while the war burned all around him. But peace doesn't last when Sally's involved. 2 days later, I came home to find her car in the driveway again. My chest tightened. I opened the door, bracing myself, and froze. She was in the living room, flipping through a stack of mail. Our mail. What are you doing? I snapped, slamming the door behind me. She glanced up, unbothered. Oh, hello, dear. The mailman left these outside. I thought I'd bring them in for you. Her tone was casual, but her eyes flickered, sharp, calculating. And then I noticed the envelope in her hand, one of the rental checks from the apartments. My heart nearly stopped. That's private, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She slipped the envelope back onto the pile with a too-sweet smile. Of course it is. I was just tidying up. But I saw it in her eyes. She'd seen enough. That night, I hid the envelopes in a shoebox at the back of my closet, my hands trembling. My grandmother's gift, meant to protect me, was turning into a weapon Sally could use against me. When Jeff came home, I almost told him. I almost begged him to listen, to understand. But then he mentioned how Mom stopped by today in that easy, forgiving tone, like her constant intrusions were normal, even endearing. I bit my tongue until it bled. Days turned into weeks. Sally grew quieter, not less present, but subtler. No more voicemails. No more texts. She smiled more, asked fewer pointed questions. And that terrified me more than anything. Because Sally wasn't the type to give up. If she'd stopped pushing, it meant she was pulling strings I couldn't see. One night, Jeff came home with a strange look on his face. Maria, he said, Mom mentioned something odd. She said you've been keeping secrets. My heart plummeted. What secrets? I asked, forcing my voice to sound calm. He frowned. I don't know. She didn't explain. Just that I should ask you directly. I felt the walls closing in. Sally was planting seeds, watering them with her poisonous smile, waiting for them to bloom into distrust. I reached across the table, gripping Jeff's hand. Jeff, please. Don't let her put ideas in your head. You know me. You know I wouldn't lie to you. His eyes searched mine, uncertain. I want to believe that, Maria. I do. But sometimes it feels like you're holding back. The words sliced through me. Because he was right. That night, I cried quietly in the bathroom, the shoebox of rental checks hidden behind me like a guilty shadow. I wanted to tell him everything, to unburden myself. But I could still hear Sally's voice in my mind. I know you're hiding something. And until I figured out how to reveal the truth without letting her control it, I couldn't. But deep down, I knew something had changed. Sally wasn't just meddling anymore. She was circling closer, like a predator that had caught the scent of blood. And soon she'd pounce. After that night, things between Jeff and me shifted. Subtly, but enough that I felt it in every word, every glance. He didn't accuse me of anything directly, but there was a new layer of hesitation in his eyes when he looked at me, as if he was weighing my words against his mother's. And Sally? She played it perfectly. Instead of barging into our home like before, she started inviting Jeff over alone. A quick lunch here, an errand there. At first, I told myself it was harmless, he was close to his mom after all. But then he started coming home later, quieter, distracted. One Friday evening, he walked in with a crease in his forehead. Maria, he said carefully, Mom's worried about you. I nearly laughed out loud. Worried? About me? He nodded, his expression strained. She thinks maybe you're under too much pressure. That maybe you're hiding financial stress. She said if you ever needed help, she'd be there. The fury rose in me like wildfire. Jeff, do you hear yourself? She's planting doubts. Again. And you're just swallowing them whole. He raised his hands defensively. I'm not accusing you of anything. I don't know. Sometimes you do seem distracted lately. Like you're carrying something you're not telling me. I froze because in that moment, he wasn't wrong. But the truth, the apartments, the inheritance, felt like a double-edged sword. If I told him now, after Sally had poisoned the well, would he hear it as trust or as confirmation that I'd been lying all along? I turned away, blinking back tears. I can't keep living like this, Jeff. I feel like I'm competing with your mother for you, and I shouldn't have to. He stepped closer, softer now. You're not competing. But she's my mom. She's always going to be part of my life. I know that, I whispered. But does she have to be in every corner of our life too? He didn't answer. The next day while Jeff was at work, my phone rang. I almost ignored it, but when I saw Sally's name on the screen, a chill ran down my spine. Against my better judgment, I answered. Her voice was smooth, almost gentle. Maria, dear, I just want to clear the air. I don't want us to be enemies. I stayed silent, waiting. She continued, I know you've been keeping something from Jeff. And I understand. We all make mistakes. But the longer you hide it, the worse it will be for your marriage. My throat tightened. I don't know what you're talking about, I said flatly. Oh, come now. Her laugh was soft, condescending. I've seen the envelopes. The rental checks. Do you really think you can keep something like that a secret forever? My stomach dropped. She knew. She didn't have the full picture yet. She didn't know about all 3 apartments or the inheritance itself. But she'd seen enough to connect the dots. You've been snooping through my things, I said, my voice shaking with rage. I've been protecting my son, she corrected smoothly. Maria, he deserves honesty. If you won't give it to him, I will. The line went dead. I sat there, phone clutched in my hand, heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. For the first time, the secret felt like it wasn't mine anymore. Sally had her claws in it now, and I had no idea how long I could keep Jeff from hearing the truth from her. That night, Jeff came home later than usual. He kissed me on the cheek, distracted, then went straight to the shower. His silence was louder than words. I sat in the living room, staring at the shoebox hidden in the closet, my mind spinning. I was running out of time. If I didn't tell him soon, Sally would. And if he heard it from her first. The thought was unbearable. Because then it wouldn't just be a secret. It would be a betrayal. That weekend, Jeff got a call from his mother. I watched him from across the living room as he answered, his voice dropping into that soft, deferential tone he always used with her. Yeah, Mom. Okay? Yeah, I can come by tomorrow. When he hung up, I asked casually, what did she want? He hesitated, which told me everything. Just lunch, he said finally. Nothing big. But I knew better. Sally never did nothing big. If she had even half the information about the inheritance, she'd use it. She'd twist it into something ugly, into proof that I was untrustworthy. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling again. The shoebox in the closet felt like it was burning a hole through the walls, calling out, daring me to reveal it before she could. My grandmother's voice echoed in my memory. This is yours, Maria. Yours to protect. The next day, Jeff left for his lunch with Sally. I sat in the house alone, nerves coiling tighter with every minute that passed. By the time he came back, I was pacing the living room. He walked in, looking pale, his jaw tight. He set his keys on the table without a word. Jeff, I whispered. What did she say? He finally looked at me, his eyes stormy. She said you've been keeping money from me. That you've been lying. My stomach dropped. I rushed forward. It's not what she makes it sound like. Please let me explain. He held up his hand, stopping me cold. Maria, is it true? My mouth went dry. This was the moment. The one I'd been dreading. The one I tried to control but had lost. Sally had ripped the timing away from me, And now Jeff was looking at me like a stranger. I didn't lie, I said, my voice breaking. I just didn't tell you everything. His laugh was bitter, sharp. That's the same thing, Maria. No. I stepped closer, desperate. Jeff, please. My grandmother left me the apartments. I didn't know how to tell you, especially with your mom breathing down our necks. I was afraid if she knew, she'd try to take control of them. His eyes flickered, conflicted, but the hurt was still there. So you kept it from me. 4 months. Tears burned in my eyes. I was trying to protect us. Protect our marriage. Jeff, you know how she is. She would have treated the inheritance like it was hers to manage. Don't you see that? He turned away, running a hand through his hair. I don't know what to think right now. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Finally, he whispered, "You should have trusted me." The words cut deeper than anything Sally had ever said. For the rest of the night, Jeff barely spoke. He sat on the couch, staring at the TV without watching it. I hovered nearby, wanting to fix it, wanting to rewind time and do it differently. But the damage was done. And the worst part? Sally had gotten exactly what she wanted. Later, when Jeff finally went to bed, I sat alone in the dark, staring at the shoebox of checks. My hands shook as I held it, the weight of the paper pressing down on me like judgment. I thought about my grandmother, about the trust she'd placed in me. I thought about the vow I'd made to use the inheritance as protection. But instead, it had become the crack Sally used to wedge herself between us. And I knew this was just the beginning. Sally wouldn't stop now. She'd seen the damage, tasted victory. She'd keep pressing, keep pushing, until she had full control. Unless I found a way to stop her. But the truth was, I didn't know how. The next morning, the silence between Jeff and me was unbearable. He dressed for work without saying a word, his movements stiff, mechanical. Normally, he'd kiss me goodbye, even if we'd argued the night before. But that day, he just grabbed his keys and muttered, "I'll see you later." The sound of the door closing felt like a verdict. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the half-empty coffee pot, my chest tight. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. I wanted Jeff to hear about the inheritance from me, to understand why I'd kept it quiet. Instead, Sally had twisted the truth into a weapon, and now he saw me as the liar. I couldn't shake the look in his eyes, hurt, distant, unsure if he could trust me. That look scared me more than anything. By the time Jeff came home that evening, the tension had hardened into something heavier. He ate dinner in silence, scrolled on his phone, and went to bed early. He wasn't cruel, but he wasn't warm either. It was like living with a ghost of my husband. The days blurred together. He started working later, claiming deadlines and late meetings. I didn't know if it was true, or if he was avoiding me. Either way, I felt the wedge driving deeper, pushed by Sally's invisible hand. And then came the phone call. I answered on the third ring, already dreading the voice on the other end. "Maria," Sally said smoothly, "I hope you've told Jeff everything by now. He deserves honesty." My grip tightened on the phone. "You had no right to tell him before I did." Her laugh was cold. "If you were truly honest, you wouldn't have hidden it at all. My son deserves better." The words stung, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of hearing me break. "You're not protecting him, Sally. You're controlling him. And I won't let you destroy our marriage." There was a pause, then her voice dropped, icy and certain. "Maria, your marriage is already crumbling. And it's not because of me, it's because of you." She hung up before I could respond. I stood there in the kitchen, phone still pressed to my ear, shaking with rage. But beneath the anger was fear. Because deep down, I wondered if she was right. That night, Jeff came home later than ever. I waited up for him, desperate to bridge the gap. "Jeff, please," I whispered when he finally walked in. "We can fix this. Don't let her come between us." He looked exhausted, defeated. "I don't know, Maria. I don't know if I can trust you anymore." Tears filled my eyes. "I wasn't trying to deceive you. I was trying to protect us from her. You know how she is, Jeff. She would have treated the inheritance like it belonged to her." He sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. For the first time, he didn't defend his mother. But he didn't defend me either. And in that silence, I realized something terrifying. Sally didn't have to destroy my marriage outright. She just had to plant enough doubt to make Jeff pull away. The cracks were spreading, and if I didn't find a way to stop them, the whole foundation would collapse. I went to bed alone that night, staring at the empty space beside me. The secret that was supposed to protect me had become the very thing pulling us apart. And somewhere, I knew Sally was smiling in victory. But what she didn't realize was that I wasn't done fighting. Not yet. The next morning, I woke up with a heaviness in my chest, the kind that made me want to crawl back under the covers and disappear. But something inside me snapped instead. I'd spent weeks, months, tiptoeing, hiding, letting Sally control the narrative. And look where it got me, a husband who didn't trust me, and a mother-in-law who thought she had the upper hand. No more. I showered, dressed, and poured myself a cup of coffee, my mind racing. If I wanted to salvage my marriage, I needed to start by reclaiming my voice. Jeff came downstairs, adjusting his tie, already halfway out the door. "Jeff," I said firmly, setting my mug down. "We need to talk tonight. No more pushing this off." He hesitated, his hand on the doorknob. "Maria, I don't have time." "Make time," I cut in. My voice surprised even me, steady, strong. "This is our marriage. We either face it together, or we let your mother keep pulling us apart. But I won't live like this anymore." He looked at me, startled by my tone, then gave a small nod before leaving. That was the first time in weeks I felt like I had any control. But I also knew Sally wouldn't sit quietly. If she thought she had leverage, she'd use it. And she'd push harder, because that's what she did. So I decided to take a risk. I went to the closet, pulled out the shoebox of checks, and placed it on the kitchen table. For months, I'd hidden it like it was a bomb waiting to explode. But maybe the only way to defuse it was to lay it bare. That evening, Jeff came home later than usual again, his face weary. He walked into the kitchen and froze when he saw the shoebox. "What is this?" he asked cautiously. "It's everything," I said softly. "Every check, every detail. I'm not hiding anymore. You want the truth? Here it is." He sat down slowly and opened the box. His eyes scanned the checks, his jaw tightening. "This is a lot of money, Maria. A lot. And you kept it from me." I swallowed hard. "Yes. And I regret not telling you sooner. But I need you to understand why. Your mom, she tries to control everything. I was terrified she'd try to take this too. And honestly, I didn't know if you'd defend me." He closed the box, his expression unreadable. "So instead, you didn't give me the chance." My heart ached at his words, but I forced myself to keep going. "Jeff, I love you. I chose you. But I won't let your mother dictate my life, our life. This inheritance is mine, yes, but I want us to decide together what it means for our future. Not her. Us." For a long moment, silence hung between us, thick and fragile. Then Jeff leaned back, sighing. "I don't know how to process all of this. But you're right about one thing. Mom has too much influence. I hate the way she's involved in everything." The admission cracked something open in me, a glimmer of hope. "But," he added, his eyes locking on mine, "you have to promise me there are no more secrets." "None." I nodded, tears threatening. "No more secrets. I swear." He reached across the table and took my hand. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was a start. And I knew Sally would hate it. Because for the first time, Jeff had listened to me instead of her. But that also meant the battle was about to get uglier. I could feel it, deep in my bones. Sally wouldn't back down. She never did. The question was, just how far was she willing to go to keep control?